Thanks for watching. Egypt elects the presidential coverage here on Al TV International, and following minute by minute on the updates on Egypt's presidential election 2024, with the voting process on the second day of the election running smoothly across the different polling booths all over the country, all over the state. We're bringing you this special coverage of the 2024 presidential election with the democratic spirit, as we have seen all over the country, so obvious since yesterday. Egyptians have turned out in unprecedented numbers and a high turnout for a reflection on a nation which is very much eager to shape its future and to complete the developments, the purse of development and democracy. Along with our distinguished guest, Dr. Nevine Nakhla, who is the Professor of Business Administration, we're going to talk more about the vibes of the presidential election 2024, which is definitely reflecting on a very important component, which is the Egyptian will and determination. Egyptians are keen to shape their future and choose their president. Dr. Nevine, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Well, together we are going to take this insightful journey into the heart of the 2024 presidential election, and we've been bringing you in the heart of events our correspondents, in the eyes of our correspondents all over the Egyptian governorates, bringing us the beat and the pulse of the elections and the developments in the presidential election as they unfold. In the bustling streets of Cairo and along the serene banks of the Nile River, and in towns and in villages across the country, we've seen the Egyptians coming together in this remarkable display of civil duty. Of course, the high turnout that has been witnessed in the different Egyptian governorates reflect, as I said, the will and the perseverance of Egyptians to share and to be part and parcel of the decision-making process in the future of their country. So, Dr. Nevine, as of yesterday, we've seen the long queues, we've seen the different segments of the Egyptian society, women and children and the elderly, all participating and sharing in the election of the upcoming president. How do you see this and how it reflects the hopes and the dreams and the aspirations of a nation adamant to choose the president?
Yes, first of all, I have to thank very much the Nile TV for all your coverage and all the hard work. Since 3 months, we are all following the Nile TV, the voice of Egypt to the world, the only languages that is talking out of Egypt to the world. So hard work, great work. Thank you so much for all the coveraging. And we saw since yesterday the lines in the streets from before 9 o'clock in the morning. Everyone is standing, women are singing, youth are volunteering and helping. It's a celebration of democracy, a celebration of Egypt, the new government, the new Egypt. The future of Egypt are built and bridges by this presidential election. And the 2030 vision of Egypt and the new government is written in the history of Egypt, a great nation that started the humanitarian history from very old ages. Egypt is the first culture in the world, and our people are still showing the world how it should be. Yes. And how presidential elections 2024 is going to be and is happening on the ground.
Yes, we've seen actually this sense of the beautiful inside out of Egyptians, you know, helping each other, finalizing the minute details, helping the elderly in order to continue the process of the choice of the president, the dynamics itself that has been seen. Everyone feels that, yes, it's time now that we would give all our utmost for tomorrow, to back our president, and to go forward and say yes to the candidate whom they think will definitely take Egypt to a higher level, to a better future. We, the Egyptians, are the ones who are quite decisive. This is, in fact, a very civilized aura, let me say, of choice that has been expressed and transcended barriers and reaching the whole world.
Exactly, and the amount of awareness that the Egyptians have, the political awareness and
Yes.
social awareness, the amount of knowledge Egyptians have on the ground, this is very much seen in the turnout and the lines in all the places for voting. Also, we saw the elderly people in Gharbiya. We saw a man aged 115 years old. He went
Yes.
to vote. And we saw in Wadi Gdid people with 94 years old. We saw the celebration of youth helping elderly and helping in knowing where is exactly your voting place and where to head, where to go, what to do. It's a big celebration for Egypt, and Egyptians are very much civilized, very much aware, and really taking their place in Egypt tomorrow.
Yes, definitely taking their place in Egypt tomorrow. And this sense of participation did send Dr. Nevine many signals and many messages to the whole world. How do you see this signals and those sense of messages with the Egyptian participation, the different categories of the Egyptian society sharing in this important and decisive elections?
Yes, it started a year and a half ago when we started the
Process,
national,
yeah.
the national negotiations and the national getting together of all the civil society.
National dialogue, yeah.
The national dialogue, thank you. And getting together of all the civil society, putting hand in hand. We saw that the civil society before that, each one was working, competing. Now they are completing each other. We saw from years ago the youth, how they started to volunteer and to help. We saw a lot of initiatives like Kitf initiative with distribution of different cartons of different goodness to the people. This was like a preparation of the mindset of Egyptians of how working together and team working together. Also, we saw the amount of awareness from all the parties, the political parties, the civil society, the ministers. We saw something very healthy also. In the past, ministers, each minister was working on its own. Now we see that initiatives are collaborating together. A lot of youth initiatives of education, vocational training, a lot of training for our youth. So this is Egypt today.
Yes.
It is of big planning and strategic planning of the political will of Egypt.
Yes, definitely the political will of Egypt. And we've seen this heavy turnout in the different Egyptian governorates. Let us right now go to Mansoura, where we have our correspondent, Nile TV correspondent Nermeen Abdelrahman in Mansoura. Through the eyes of Nermeen. Nermeen, how is the situation going on in Mansoura? We've talked to you earlier in the day and you have reported that things are going smoothly and the high turnout continues. Nermeen, good day.
A good day
Hello,
to
Nermeen.
you, Tagreed. Yes, right, you are. The turnout is getting heavier in the afternoon as there was a break, as you know, from 3 to 4. And we have been expecting that because, as you know, this is a working day. So we were expecting that the turnout is going to be heavier in the afternoon. And this is exactly what happened. What's really eye-catchy, as usual, is that the women are drawing such a civilized scene. The elderly people with determination. And you know, I was listening to one of the most exciting and maybe funny conversations, by the way. There was a dad and his 8 or 9-year-old daughter, and she was asking him why I cannot vote just like you, and he told her, when you grow up. So this is the way we say or we convey the message to the new generations. When the fathers and mothers are accompanying their kids, accompanying their daughters and sons to be here with them while casting their ballots, this is an indirect and a direct message in the same time, telling them to what extent it's that important to practice your constitutional right, to know well since your early childhood that your vote counts. So I was very happy when I was listening to this conversation, and I really congratulated the father for the awareness of his young daughter.
Thank you so much, Nermeen. That was Nermeen Abderrahman talking to us from Mansoura Daqahliya Governorate on the beat of the presidential election. And since earlier in the morning, we have seen through the eyes of Nile TV correspondents more. They have been reporting on how it has been a high turnout throughout the different Egyptian governorates, with the different sectors of the Egyptian society very much keen to cast their ballot. Short break and we'll be back. Dr. Nevine, we're actually capturing this sense of the essence of a nation which is really keen, very much keen and decisive to choose the president. And we've seen the heavy turnout. What are the factors, the components, do you think, that led to this high turnout that we have seen in the different polling stations all over the Egyptian governorates?
As you saw in Mansoura, the youth were standing at the back. They are helping everyone. This is one of the factors that is really helping this turnout, the awareness. A lot of awareness took place for the last year and a half, a lot of participation of our youth. And we saw from yesterday, especially the age of 18 years old, who are, they just started to vote this year, how they are really taking the rights and really happy with being able to vote. Also the transparency of the whole election. The many judges, 15,000 judges, are the ones taking care of the places of the voting. A lot of transparency, a lot of awareness, a lot of knowledge, a lot of participation of the Egyptians, knowing their rights. Also, what happened to Egypt in the last few years gave Egyptians the sense of participation in their country. We had 60 million Egyptians living under the poverty line before our beloved president, His Excellency, made the initiative of Decent Life initiative. And now we have a lot of Egyptians living a decent life with infrastructure, with a lot of vocational training, fiber optics, even lining of the lakes. A lot of small SMEs learned how to do their small businesses. A lot of initiatives for taking small funds with very low interests. All these things made Egyptians trust the government, trust the political will, all the security we have in Egypt today. Also, books always say to test the trust of nations to their government and to their country is in the challenging times.
Yes.
And we saw during COVID-19, we saw during the war around us in the world, how our government was very keen, and the slogan of our government was the people first.
Yeah.
And the amount of support and security for the people, for the Takaful and Karama, for example, a lot of support.
Lots of initiatives.
Initiatives
yes,
led to this today, led that Egyptians are really aware and happy to participate.
Yes, definitely. We've been, of course, following very important roles by different bodies all across the Egyptian governorates and across the country, like the State Information Service that established a central operations room in order to monitor the elections minute by minute and the voting of the Egyptians in the 2024 presidential election. So we have the around-the-clock operations room. Also here at Nile TV International, we've been following around the clock the presidential election and all the developments as they unfold. So we can see, of course, it created a sense of movement in the Egyptian media and a sense of dynamism as a whole, as we follow our coverage and the different correspondents all over the country. How do you see this sense of movement and this healthy dynamism, Dr. Nevine?
A very dynamic movement, and also the coverage is very professional. As we said, very transparent and professional. Also giving all the people who are running for the presidential election the same time for showing their vision, 1,000 hours, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, to show their vision and to show their plan. This is a great thing. Also, the 27 governorates are covered 24 hours. We saw that some governorates yesterday, they stayed even after 9 o'clock at night because of the big lines and the big turn.
And we have additional judges and additional, of course, staff helping because the turnout definitely was very high. So this sense of movement, Dr. Nevine, this sense of dynamism has been actually very healthy. 2024 presidential election is marked by a significant voter turnout, the queues forming outside the different polling booths and the polling stations across the country, witnessing this active participation. So as we can see, that the people are very much aware of the state priorities. And this is the timing where we find that the Egyptians themselves are heroes. They are stars. They are the ones sharing, and they are the ones creating this healthy movement and this dynamic environment. And the patriotic sense of Egyptians, you know, is like amazing. And it's always crystal clear in those decisive moments in Egypt's history. A short break and we'll be back. We're still following up here on Nile TV International the presidential election 2024, and through the eyes of our correspondents all over the country. And throughout talking to them throughout the whole day, they were saying, of course, there has been a high turnout in the different sectors of the society, where they're at the different polling stations, sharing in this decisive moment of choosing our president. And at the same time, Dr. Nevine, we have seen, of course, the youth recently and over the past years playing a very important role in the decision-making process. For instance, we've seen through the different World Youth Conferences that has been there, how they have been really sharing and how their voice matters, and all that has proven here today when we see the cues and we see the youth now quite aware and keen to share in the future of their country.
Exactly. We saw them very aware, very volunteering, very helping, and very knowing their rights. And this is something, these are Egyptians and Egyptian youth. For the last 5 years or 6 years, youth are being trained to have their voice heard, and their voice, they know what they want, they know their future, they know the sustainable development that is taking place in Egypt, and they are part of it. So also this is part of the Egyptian strategic planning. We are one of the first countries around the world to have our youth participating in this award and this perfect matter and this perfect way and perfect look. Our youth, they're very much educated, very much aware, and really they know the volunteering they are doing, the amount of volunteering they are doing, how it gives them happiness and how it gives them peace and how it gives them the sense of owning the country and the sense of having their voice heard. Also, Egypt, one of the very few countries around the world with very young population. We have more than 60% of our population are under 25 years old. So they are the future. And today, marking the presidential election of 2024 for the coming 6 years, with our youth making their future and bridging by this election to their future. Successfully and happily, and you see the youth in all the stations all over Egypt. They are the ones who are helping everyone. They are the ones who have the computers in front of them, telling everyone where to go, which number they are in the list, and
helping out, yes.
Helping out,
Yes.
elderly and special needs and everyone. So.
Yes, definitely. All the different categories of the society are helping out for the sake of our beloved Egypt. Short break and we'll be back. We're always talking about also women participation, you know, in the electoral processes throughout the history of Egypt. We find that Egyptian women has always been sharing, and they have always been there for their country. They have always been supporting their nation. And we find that in the presidential election 2024, Egyptian women were still there sharing and with their hearts and their minds to support their country and definitely to take part in the decision-making process for their leader.
Yeah. Women of Egypt are 49% approximately of the Egyptian population. So they are half the community, they are half the population. And women of Egypt, they are very strong women with a strong will. And in the last few years are taken all the rights. We are the only country that we have the Women of Egypt 2030 vision, and a lot of empowerment, political, economical, social, protection, everything. Women took all the rights in Egypt, and we are in our golden era, as we say, for Egyptian women. We saw the women of Egypt in the election, how participating they are. In villages, we saw them from 9 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. They are singing national songs, getting their kids with their husbands, and they are knowing exactly, they have the know-how and the knowledge of what to do and what is right for them and who gave them their rights. And I mean, women of Egypt are the strength of Egypt.
They are definitely the strength of Egypt, and they are the ones who, through their families, of course, they have this sense of patriotism to let all the family go and share and cast their ballot. They have their influence, of course, in our society. Not only the youth and women, but of course, we have seen also the elderly. And this is also a very important domain that is worth of all respect.
Yes.
that we find all the different categories of the society sharing, very much keen to share, and not, of course, to leave it, to the new generations, but the older generations were also very much adamant to share. And this has been crystal clear through the different polling stations that we have followed, and was quite also clear in the reports that has been presented and fielded and filed by our correspondents.
Yes, elderly people are giving a role model to youth, a role model to women, a role model for even the small kids of how they are sharing in the presidential election 2024. We saw ages 94, 100 and something, and they are going. We saw in many stations that even elderly, ill people, they came. There was, I think in Gharbiya, someone came from the hospital and shared.
As we can see here,
Exactly.
of course, we're bringing the beat from the presidential election 2024. And all the developments as they unfold, we see women here, of course, and we can see the elderly women also sharing. And this is a great shots, and they all reflect the keenness of the people. And we can see this sense of help, that when there is a dream and you go after your dream, and also the differently abled, everybody is there, when it is a call for Egypt, everybody is there. It's our country, it's our beloved nation, it's our future, it's the future of the coming generations. Here we can see this sense of belonging also reflected, of course, in the teenagers, also sharing in the electoral process. And we have seen those marches throughout the different governorates. Everybody is sharing, and this has been actually a message to the whole world.
Exactly.
That how Egypt is united, how Egyptians are very decisive in sharing and in taking part and parcel in the decision-making process. How do you see those great images that we're seeing, Dr. Nevine?
Very touching and very real. This
Genuine.
is Egypt.
Yeah.
This is Egypt, and these are Egyptians. And our slogan in the new government is "No one is left behind." Everyone is sharing with all different diversity of Egypt. We are one, and no one is left behind. Everyone is keen for the future of Egypt, and everyone is aware, and everyone knows where we're heading. A lot of strategic planning took place in the past, and a lot of on-the-ground things happened to our country, a lot of sustainable development, and will continue for the future of our kids and grandkids. Today we're marking history.
Yes, we are. We are. It's a very decisive moment in Egypt's history as we see Egyptians keep flocking to the polling stations throughout the day and earlier since yesterday with this sense of commitment to influence the course of their country's future, with this sense of commitment and belief that each vote counts, that your voice is making a difference, that the ballot actually is resounding more than the bullet. It's very important, that every citizen is playing a very important role in creating and in writing this important narrative, let me say, of the nation.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, how do you see, Dr. Nevine, this collective action? The high turnout is definitely sending messages to the whole world.
We are sending messages to the whole world with the transparency of the election, with everyone has the same right, with our diversity from Upper Egypt to Delta to Alexandria. Everyone is aware, the awareness of the Egyptian people, the awareness of the youth, and the turnout shows that Egyptians are really participating for the future of their countries, of their country, and they really care, and they really know that their voice matters.
Yes.
Each voice matters.
Great. Let's take our dear correspondent, Basma Taha from downtown Cairo. Basma, how are you? And how is the process going on in downtown Cairo?
I am now in downtown area, Cairo Governorate. Voting here started at exactly 9 a.m. So far, everything is going smoothly and everything is well organized. It took between 2 or 3 minutes for each voter to cast his or her own vote and to end the whole voting process. Different segments of society, different age brackets, they are all keen to come today in order to cast their votes, believing that their voices will count and that their decisions will lead to a better and to a flourishing future in the country. Cairo Governor General Khalid Abdel Ali inspected this voting station, and he called upon all the citizens of Cairo Governorate to go to their voting stations and to cast their votes, saying that it is a national duty for each and every citizen. Also, the National Election Authority has provided guidance signs for citizens indicating how to vote, and also it offered all facilities for elderly and also for people with special needs in order to help them to cast their votes. There are heavy security measures taken in order to secure the voting station and as well as the surrounding areas, so voters would feel free and secure at the same time. Also, Taghreed, there is a coordination between Cairo Governorate as well as all the concerned agencies and bodies in order to facilitate everything to the citizens. There is also a control or an operation room at the headquarters of Cairo Governorate in order to follow up the latest developments in the different constituencies all over the governorate. The whole scene indeed reflects a very beautiful and also a very civilized image of Egypt to the entire world.
Yes, thank you so much, our correspondent Basma Taha, speaking to us from downtown Cairo. And as Basma has mentioned, yes, it is a very much civilized message that Egypt sends to the whole world. She mentioned that the different categories are there to cast their ballot and to share in the 2024 presidential election. Short break, we'll be back. So definitely the outcome of the presidential election is going to influence the long-term development of Egypt. And we've seen the people's interest, to share, and they're looking forward for the candidate who is providing them with the sense of safety, for the sense of security, for the sense of building the country, building the human character, and at the same time holding the elections at this timing where the region is actually suffering from many challenges. Dr. Nevine, how do you see this reflecting? Lots of challenges this time at this decisive moment, but the Egyptian people are always up to any sort of challenges when it comes to their beloved country.
Exactly. Also, as we mentioned, that the Egyptian people, they trust their government and they trust their political will. They trust everything is happening to them. We have around us a lot of challenges. We faced a lot of challenges during COVID-19, and the government was very much up to these challenges. No one was sleeping without food. No one was, at the contrary, at these challenges, Egypt was building itself. Egypt was making a lot of infrastructure for trading. Egypt is going to be the first logistical hub of the region. This building, at the times of challenges, at the times of war in the surrounding, at the time of illness around the world with the COVID-19, and in spite of all, Egypt was building its country. We did not stop for a moment. The government helped 60 million Egyptians with the Decent Life Initiative, for example. So Egyptians, they're very much aware today in the election, the presidential election today, they are celebrating their democracy and they are celebrating their decision-making and their will. And they know where is the future of Egypt heading. They saw the Vision 2030 and they know what's coming in the future. So today is a bridge to our future with the very aware citizens of Egypt. They are making their votes very clear. And we saw also the percentage of voters.
Yes.
Yesterday, I think it was like 25% of the 68 million that are supposed to vote. Numbers are great. As we said, people were standing in the line up till after 9 o'clock. Some places even ordered to open after 9 from the turnout. And this is democracy.
Yes, this is Egypt, actually, which is presenting to the whole world a great model, a great civilized model, let me say. Well, Dr. Nevine, there has been also this scene where we have seen together in the footage the kids and how they are raising the flags of Egypt. You know, this spirit is very much needed because this sense of belonging is usually implanted since the early age and since childhood. So this is also a very important dimension and a great reflection as well, because they are going to turn up as teenagers and later on they are going to be the leaders of their country. So the kids today, and how do you see this scene? You know, it sends also many messages, and perhaps another message of awareness for the parents.
Exactly.
To instill this sense of belonging in their kids and to let them be aware of such processes that the country is going through.
And also the kids are putting their lines and their handwriting in the future of Egypt.
Yeah.
We saw the kids standing singing national songs with the women, with their parents. So this is a great scene of Egypt with the national anthem, with the national songs, and it shows that the kids, they really care about their country, they are aware, they know that they are the future, and they are positive, initiative. They are not sitting home, and we are in the middle of exams. I mean, these days are end-of-term exams for kids, but still they are celebrating the democracy of Egypt and celebrating the great history the kids and Egyptians are making today.
Yes. Well, a short break and then we'll talk about the many files actually that are going to be before Egypt's elected president. What are the priority files at this important juncture, and in the next phase we'll talk about the files right after this break. So go share, it's your voice, it's your vote. All those who didn't cast yet their votes, go vote and definitely exercise your right for choosing the president and this important sharing in this important and decisive moment in Egypt's history. Dr. Nevine, before we leave, let me talk about the important files that are there on the president's desk as he assumes office for another term in the presidency. Well, we'll see more concerning this. We have like 4 candidates running for the president. Whoever is going to come as Egypt's president has many important files, lots of challenges, but still with Egyptians there and with their dreams, with their hopes, with their will, definitely the sky is the limit, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Of course, the continuous sustainable development of Egypt, the continuous building and supporting the underserved villages, continuous infrastructure, and localizing industrial. A lot of coming in the pipeline for industries, a lot of vocational training, a lot of technical training and technical schools, a lot of made in Egypt products, and a lot of hope, more democracy, a lot of sustainable development, a lot of plantations. The coming is bright. The future of Egypt is very bright, thanks to our past.
Yes, our past and our bright future is coming with. It's going to be bright with the Egyptians' will and with their sharing and with their having, having this sense of being, with their perseverance to make their country better and to work for the quality of this nation, to work for the bright day for this country. Tomorrow is definitely another day, brighter for Egypt and brighter for the Egyptians.
Yes, long live Egypt.
Long live Egypt. Dr. Nevine Nakhla, Professor of Business Administration, I thank you so much for coming to Nile TV International on that very much bright day,
yes,
an important and decisive
historical day. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I thank you, dear viewers, for watching. I'm Taghreed Hussein, and the special coverage of the election of the President of Egypt 2024 continues on Nile TV International. Stay with us.